you are studying. Start. Well, the subject of information systems that we are studying, in the very preliminary talks, it was made very clear that this information systems which we are intending to develop is not a monolithic system. It's not a monolithic system, but a system which has many components which are interlinked with it. We are trying to see the independent components of the system independently. But let me warn you that when the topics are discussed independently, you should not develop that isolated view on that subject. For example, when we discuss data, data is not an independent island in this whole discussion. The view is that the data concepts which we have understood helps in building the complete information system for which we have a vision for. The focus of that previous unit which we were discussing was not to focus merely on SQL or on technologies such as databases, data warehouse, data mining and stuff like that. It is not that. The idea is to learn how to collect the data, store it in an appropriate manner using any technologies, whether it is data marts or data warehouses or databases. The judicious choice should be done there. It is not enough merely if you know the definitions of these terms. More important is to know when and hows of these technologies. So the idea is that if you have a vision of an information system, the first thing that you should do is to understand how to collect and manage data. That is what we have seen. We went a step ahead and distinguished between information and knowledge. I hope we did discuss knowledge engineering a bit. The distinction between the terms data information on one side and knowledge on the other side was discussed in the last lecture. Let me summarize. Data and information are basically static, whereas knowledge is kinetic. These are stored, manipulated to give some knowledge. The basic distinction between the two we have, I think I gave some formula kind of expressions for distinguishing between information and knowledge. One is static, other is in action. Well, suddenly some words flash. Static to dynamic. I remember the words. Twelfth century. Revolutionary poets gave us two words for Kannada literature. Sthavara Jangama. How well that definition fits here suddenly in flash. Sthavara means something which is static. Jangama means that which moves. Sthavara kaliyuttu Jangamakilla, said those poets. That which does not move, that which is static, will come to an end. That which moves does not have an end. They said. Stavara Kaligundu Jangamakilla. They said in a very different context. Let me explain. Their definition, the context in which they defined Stavara and Jangama was they rejected the formulation of idol worship and the concept of temples and God in temples. Stavara, God which is the idol of God which is fixed in temple. They rejected. The leader of this movement was called Basavanna, very famously said, Ullavaru, Shivalaya Madavaru, Nalaya Madali Badavanaya. Meaning those who have money, they will build temples. What will I do for? I don't have any. So what is temple for? He said, Kale Komba Devave Devula Shirave Mata Kalashavaya. My legs are pillars. Body is the temple. And my head is the shining golden tower. That's what he said. They rejected the concept of fixed idols. In fact, they took God whenever they went along. The 12th century revolutionary Bhakti movement people, they took Shivalinga, put it in a cloth and they wear it around their necks. Whenever they want to worship, they remove that and worship. Stavara Kaligundu Jangamakilla. Correct. Information can be lost, not the knowledge. Very, very true. There, in a metaphysical manner, they said something else. Stavara Kaligundu Jangamakilla means, Stavara means human body. Human body has an end. Jangama is the soul. The soul which passes through the body does not have any. That is why Krishna in Bhagavad Gita does not use the term death. He uses the term Dehantar Praptihi. We strongly believe that the soul moves from one body to other. Stavara Kaligundu Jangamakilla. Yeah. I have to clarify one thing here. Does this mean that all the shows which are coming on the TV are good? After life, before life stories. I was doing some independent study for quite some time. I was digging out all the issues related to this matter from the sacred text. I think it is time somebody who is learned comes up and says all this is bogus. Whatever shows which are happening on TV, which will tell you that we will take you to your previous lives, and they start speaking what were they in their previous life. Simply bogus. Then how do we equate? Don't we believe that there are previous lives also? Yes. What about those shows then? There is a I don't know whether I have to talk on this. Go to Netflix. Finish this and go to Netflix. What is said in Indian scriptures is definitely that soul will transcend from one body to another. That is clear. See, I am not supporting or opposing this view. I am just saying what is there in the text. This is not my views. I am saying as it is. The scriptures say that the soul passes from one body to other. Then the natural question will be, why can't we remember previous lives? One thing we should understand, our ability to forget things is the greatest gift we have. Imagine what would happen if we could not forget anything. A very dangerous situation. What Indian scripture says is that what you carry from one life to other is the sum total of the rewards or punishments you get for your action. See, the concept is this. Let me simplify. Consider that there is a bank. When you do something good, positive points will be accumulated. When you do some wrongs, negative points will be accumulated. Once a body transcends The soul transcends from one body to other. What gets transferred is this sum total, not the memories. It is impossible. The word used is chitti actually. Chit. The chit means sum total of your actions, positive or negative, gets carried. So in one life, in this life, I carry the sum total of all my previous life, the actions, the rewards or punishments of my actions in previous life. In this life, if I accumulate more positive points, more positive will be added to my account. Finally, when this value becomes zero, we say unique salvation. Nowhere in Indian scriptures will you find even one instance of a normal human being able to recall his previous lives. It's impossible. Liberated souls, they say, can recall. But today what we see is every other person, that people who look very dangerous with all the flowing hair, all with a nice setting, they will make you speak about your music. Then how will you explain that? One, see, all of us understand, we are not immature. All of us understand that this all happens in a television studio. What happens behind the scenes, nobody knows. One. Second, of course the answer can be given from Freud's theories. There is a suppressed emotion in all human beings, which will be channeled in some way or other. They get an opportunity there to express themselves. That happens. That can be explained through these ways, and these are definitely not supported in Indian scriptures. So please don't believe in all this. Why did all this come here? Stavarat Valemundu Jangamakilla. Basavana would have never thought that his theory would be discussed in a information science class. So what we are trying to propose here is that something which is static can end, does not have much value. Something which moves has value. How do you get this movement? Today in computers, we get the movement of data through networks, so finally connected. Data and networks are able to connect. Networks is one more important concept in information system, primarily because without networks, computers are nothing but glorified calculators. Imagine for a minute computers without network. What would they be? They would be useless. So when he said, who said this network is the computer? Very famous statement which would be told in your introductory class of networking. Network is the computer. Who said? John Gage. John Gage of Sun Microsystems. He is famously known as the fifth employee of Sun Microsystems. Made this very famous statement that network is the computer. And I have enhanced it to say that browser is the operating system. Network is the computer, browser is the operating system. You don't need anything else. If you have a network and a browser, you can do almost anything you want. So information systems, if you recall in the very early discussions, when we gave the blueprint of the architecture of information system, the main aspect there was networking. We said that the modern architecture of information system should look like this. That all the computers within an organization will be connected together. In the technical terms, we call it intranet. The second component of information system was the ability to connect the computers of an organization with the computers of the trusted players. We said this is extranet. And the third component of this architecture of information system was connecting this intranet and extranet to the public network. We call it internet. We also said that looking from the systems perspective, you can distinguish them as supply chain management, customer relation management, and within an organization. I forget to tell you. What did we call it? EDI, electronic data interchange. What did we call that? ERP, correct, ERP. So ERP, CRM, SCM, from a systems perspective, or intranet, extranet, internet, in the networking perspective, the concept is same. The idea is that the system should be connected with each other. That is the whole idea. For a moment, I will not go into the depths of the technical discussions of networking. What is LAN, what is WAN, what is OSI, what is 802.1, 802.11. I will not focus much on the technical aspects of networking, for I understand that you are learning in your other courses. My focus will be exclusively to discuss the possibilities of networking. From the information systems perspective, the possibilities of networking are three. I am only three. One, communication. Second, collaboration. Third, cooperation. 3 C's. So the implications of networking on information systems are basically three: communication, collaboration, and cooperation. Let me focus on each of these possibilities and see how these ideas come to help the concept of information